Why teens stop trusting their parents without saying a word. Your child used to tell you everything. What happened at school, who said what, which friend did what they were feeling, what did the teacher say, and now nothing. One word answers and rolling of the eyes, closing the doors. I'm fine, even when they are clearly not fine. You haven't changed. You still love your child the same way. So what has happened? Today I'm going to tell you exactly why teens stop trusting their parents, stop sharing. And the hardest part is most parents don't even realize that they have caused it unknowingly. Let me start with something uncomfortable. Teens don't suddenly stop trusting you. It happens slowly over time because of small moments that add up. And by the time you notice, the wall is already built. The good news is that once you understand what's happening, you can start to repair it. The first reason that children stop trusting parents is that their feelings get dismissed too many times. Think about it. Your teenager came to you upset about something, maybe a fight with a friend, maybe something they saw on Instagram, or maybe stress about an exam, or maybe somebody said something hurtful. And you said, oh, that's not a big deal. Ye to hota rehta hai. You're overreacting. Just ignore it. It's okay. It's not a big problem. Oh, there are bigger problems in life. Oh, people are starving of hunger and, dying. There are wars happening. Your problem is nothing. Or when I was your age, we had real problems. You have no problem. You are so privileged. So when you say this, you mean well. Your intention is you are trying to downplay their problem and you are trying to show them the other side. You are trying to give them a perspective. But what they heard was, oh, my feelings don't matter. My feelings are disregarded. They are not important. And after this happens a few times, they stop coming to you because they know what answer they are going to get. Why should they? Because when you say this, they automatically stop sharing any further about what they want to share. So you have automatically, unconsciously, unknowingly put a stop to further sharing. The second reason is that sharing becomes risky. When your teenager tells you something personal, something about, they did something wrong, or maybe something you didn't like, maybe a crush, maybe about a mistake they made, maybe about getting into trouble or doing something really not okay with you. And then later on, you brought it up in front of relatives, or you used it against them in an argument, or you told another parent without asking, or you completely overreacted through the roof. Remember, trust is built in private and destroyed in public. Once a teenager feels that what they are sharing with you in a private space is going to be discussed in public without their permission, is going to be used against them, then they are going to shut down completely, because this generation is different. Maybe in our times, it was okay to discuss in front of people and relatives and laugh about it, but now it has changed. There is something called privacy and space which requires respect and attention. The third reason is that every conversation turns into a lecture. Your teenager starts telling you about something that happened, and before they could finish, you jump in with an advice, a tip, a solution, or your point of view. So you are not fully listening. You are actually listening just to reply or just to correct. You will say, "Arey, instead of this, you should have done like this, or you should have reacted like this, or you could have told like this." Remember, they don't want advice. They want to be heard. They just want you to listen without commenting, without judging, or without even providing a solution. They don't need you to fix their problems, and they don't need your lessons and lectures. Sometimes they just need you to listen. When every conversation becomes a teaching moment, teenagers will stop having conversations with you altogether. Remember, today's teens have much more access than we did to information. So they already have enough information, but they don't have enough mindful, empathetic listening ears, and that is what you can give as a parent. The fourth reason is that your reaction scared them. At some point, your teenager told you something that was difficult, that was not okay. Maybe they failed a test. Maybe they did something wrong. Maybe they committed some mistake in school. They made a bad decision. Maybe they broke up in a relationship. And you reacted with them in anger. You completely lost your cool. You were disappointed. You panicked. You got anxious. You got extremely scared, paranoid, hurt, offended, or you immediately started punishing and interrogating. They learned that honestly leads to pain. So they will start hiding things. Not because they want to deceive you, but simply because they don't want to handle your reaction. They don't know how to handle your reaction. And half the time, they are going to protect you in future because they don't want you to go through all that anxiety, panic, fear, shame, and guilt. Oftentimes we say, oh my God, it is my fault that you did like this. Again, that also is not helpful. So all these reasons will make sure that your teenager will stop sharing with you. The fifth reason is you stopped being curious. When they were young, you asked questions because you genuinely wanted to know about their world. But somewhere along the way, your questions now are becoming investigative surveillance. Where are you going? Who will you be? Why do you want to go there? Why didn't you tell me before? Why do you have to take the car and go? Why do you have to meet this friend? Why didn't you take permission earlier? They can feel the difference between curiosity and control. When your questions feel feel like interrogation, when your questions feel like you're judging them, interrogating them, trying to extract more information than you should, they will give you less and less information. So what can you do about this? First, listen more than you talk. When they share something, resist the urge to fix it. Just say, okay. That is a great one. In any difficult situation, if you don't know what to do, just a few rounds of okay. That sounds hard, or tell me more. Tell me a little bit more. Let them feel heard. You don't have to always react and respond. Second, keep their secrets. If they tell you something in confidence, please let it stay between the two of you. No exceptions. That is how trust is built. If you really need to tell your partner or your spouse, then please inform the child that you will do that. Third, regulate your reactions. Even if you're shocked, worried, anxious, stay calm. You can process your emotions later, but do not show them in front of the teenager. In that moment, your job is to stay calm and balanced like a steady rock, so that even if your child is stressed, anxious, and dysregulated, the child knows that you can be that anchor. If you've dismissed their feelings or overreacted or broken their trust, own it. All of this that I said is not possible overnight, right? So there may be moments when you do these things that you shouldn't do, and then say, I realized I did this is wrong and I'm sorry. Do not say sorry with a but. Anything that you say with a but negates the previous thing. So if you say, oh, I'm very sorry I shouted at you, but you shouldn't have done this. Oh, I'm very sorry I got upset at you, but you should have told me earlier. So say sorry, say unconditional sorry, genuinely, honestly apologize if you have made a mistake. Do not make it conditional, right? Remember, be patient. Trust takes time to rebuild. They might test you with small things first to see if you've really changed. Prove that you have. Remember, your teenager wants to trust you. They want a parent that they can talk to, they can connect to, but they need to know that it is safe. You can be non-judgmental and you will listen. If you've really liked these videos as a parent or as a young Gen Z watching it, please make sure that you share it to as many people as you can. Share it to parents, share it to friends' parents, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel for more such videos and content on mental health, parenting, and Gen Z. If you're wondering what's really going on with your teenager's mind, especially with this Gen Z, I have recorded a podcast episode called Is Gen Z Lonely?, where I have spoken to a 21-year-old young girl, where I dive deep into what today's teenagers are actually experiencing. I've also done a podcast with two of my Gen Z kids, Ansh and Twishi, where they have very openly, honestly, candidly shared about their experience growing up and their mental health challenges. So click on this link to watch the episode. It will help you understand your teen much better. Watch that episode. Let me know in the comments what you feel about this, and I will see you in the next video.